Kindly watch this video to the end and learn new things from my story. I was 8 years old the first time. My father looked at me like I was a stranger. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. We were sitting at the dinner table. My stepmother, Linda, placed food on his plate with a sweet smile. When she reached me, she accidentally dropped my spoon on the floor. "Oops," she said softly. "Clumsy me." My dad, Mark, sighed. "Pick it up yourself," he said to me without even looking. That was the moment I knew something had changed. Before Linda, my father used to call me Champ. He used to carry me on his shoulders and let me choose the radio station in the car. After Linda moved in, I became that child. And Linda, she became a master poisoner. Not with pills, not with food, but with words. Little ones. Soft ones. The kind that sound harmless but kill slowly. "Mark, I don't want to say anything, but your son has been lying a lot. Mark, maybe he's acting out because he doesn't respect me. Mark, I think he's trying to turn you against me." She said it with concern, with worry, with fake love. And my father believed every word. One night, I overheard them talking in their bedroom. I was supposed to be asleep. "He broke my favorite mug today," Linda said, and when I asked him why, he laughed. I froze. That was a lie. I had tripped. The mug fell, I cried, I apologized. But Linda's voice was calm, convincing. "He scares me sometimes, Mark." That did it. The next morning, my father stood in my doorway with crossed arms. "You're going to start behaving," he said, "or things will change." "How?" I asked. His jaw tightened. "You don't want to find out." From that day on, Linda's poison worked faster. If something went missing, it was me. If Linda was tired, it was because of me. If my dad was angry, it was my fault. She never yelled, never hit me. She smiled while she destroyed me. At school, I became quiet. At home, invisible. Once, when I was 10, I tried to tell my dad the truth. "Linda lies about me," I whispered while we washed the car together. He turned off the hose slowly. "Don't you dare talk about my wife like that." "I'm not lying," I said, my voice shaking. "She wants you to hate me." He laughed, a short, sharp laugh. "You're jealous," he said, "that's all." That night, Linda hugged him extra tight and looked at me over his shoulder. She winked. By the time I turned 12, my father barely spoke to me. By 13, he stopped calling me his son. By 14, Linda had her final plan ready. It happened on a Sunday. I came home to find my suitcase by the door. "What's this?" I asked. Linda sat on the couch, calm as ever. "Your father and I talked," she said. "We think you need space." My heart pounded. "Where, Dad?" "He's out," she replied, "but he agrees." I ran outside and waited. When my father came home, I stood in front of him. "You're kicking me out?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Linda stepped beside him. "He's been stealing money from my purse," she said gently, "and threatening me when you're not around." "What?" I shouted. "That's not true." My father's face hardened. "Enough," he said. "I'm done with the drama." "I'm your son," I cried. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said the words that broke something inside me forever. "Not anymore." That night, I left with nothing but my clothes and a heart full of rage. Linda stood in the doorway as I walked away. She smiled. I slept on friends' couches. I worked odd jobs. I grew up fast. And I promised myself one thing. I would survive. Years passed. I changed. But I never forgot. At 26, I saw my father's name pop up on my phone. I didn't answer. Then Linda's name appeared. That made me smile. Because by then, I had everything I needed. And Linda had no idea that the poison she fed my father was about to be forced down her own throat. I answered the phone. And listened. Linda's voice on the phone sounded weaker than I remembered. "Hi, it's me," she said. "Your father isn't well." I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. Funny how life works. "When did you remember I exist?" I asked. There was a pause. I could almost picture her forcing a sad smile. "He's been asking for you," she said. "He's been confused, regretful." Regretful. That word tasted strange in my mouth. "What do you want, Linda?" I asked. Another pause. "We need help," she said. "Financially, emotionally, family should be there." Family. The same word she erased from my life. "I'll think about it," I said and hung up. For the first time in years, my hands were shaking. Not from fear. From excitement. That night I couldn't sleep. Memories flooded back, being blamed, ignored, pushed out. I remembered Linda's wink, her smile, the way she enjoyed watching me fall. I also remembered something else. Linda was careless. She thought she was smart, but she talked too much. She lied too often, and people like that always leave fingerprints. I opened my laptop and started digging. Social media, old emails, court records. Linda had a pattern. She moved fast, she controlled people, she played victim, and when she felt safe, she got sloppy. By morning, I had my first lead. A comment under an old photo. "Linda, you still owe me for what you did." Interesting. I clicked the name, Sarah Collins. I sent her a message. "Hi, you don't know me, but I think we share the same enemy." She replied 5 minutes later. "I've been waiting for someone like you." We met 2 days later at a small cafe. Sarah was in her 40s, tired eyes, sharp mind. "She did the same thing to me," Sarah said quietly. "Turned my husband against me, told him I was dangerous, took everything." My chest tightened. "Did you tell him the truth?" I asked. She laughed bitterly. "By the time I tried, he was already poisoned." That word again. Poisoned. Linda's specialty. Sarah leaned closer. "She keeps records," she whispered. "Emails, voice messages, she never deletes anything." My heart raced. "Where?" I asked. "In the house," Sarah said. "Your father's house." I smiled for the first time in days. "Good," I said, "because I'm coming home." When I pulled into my old street, my stomach twisted. Same houses, same trees. Different me. Linda opened the door and froze. "Oh," she said, "you came." I looked past her. My father sat on the couch, smaller than I remembered, older, broken. "Hi, Dad," I said. He looked up slowly. For a second, confusion. Then tears. "My son," he whispered. Linda's smile trembled. Dinner was quiet, too quiet. Linda kept watching me, studying me. I let her. Later that night, she cornered me in the kitchen. "You're not here to help," she said softly. "Why are you really here?" I met her eyes. "To make peace," I lied. She didn't believe me. That night, while they slept, I searched. Drawers, closets, old laptops. And then I found it. A folder. Names, dates, lies. Audio recordings. One file was labeled with my name. I pressed play. Voice filled the room. "He's unstable," she said. "Mark, I'm scared of him." My hands clenched. There it was. The poison. Clear, undeniable. I everything. And went back to my room. The next morning, served breakfast like nothing was wrong. My father smiled at me. "I'm glad you came back," he said. So was I. Because the trap was set. And had no idea that the truth was about to sit at the table with us. I just needed the right moment. And I already knew exactly how to make her confess. Without her even realizing it. I lifted my coffee cup and smiled. I said casually, "Do you remember the day Dad disowned me?" Her hand froze midair. And I knew. Fingers tightened around her cup. That was a painful time for all of us, she said quickly. Let's not dig up old wounds. My father looked between us. What do you mean the day I disowned you? He asked, confused. I don't remember that clearly. Laughed softly, too softly. Mark, you were under a lot of stress back then, she said. Your memory. I remember, I interrupted. Both of them turned to me. I remember standing right there, I said, pointing at the front door. My suitcase was already packed. I remember begging, and I remember you saying I wasn't your son anymore. The room went silent. My father's face drained of color. I said that, he whispered. Reached for his hand. You don't remember how bad he was behaving, she said quickly. You were protecting us. I leaned back in my chair. Protecting who? I asked calmly. Jaw tightened. I didn't push further, not yet. Revenge works best when it feels safe. That afternoon, I suggested something innocent. Dad, why don't we go through old photos? I said. It might help your memory. His face lit up. I'd like that, he said. Didn't. But she couldn't say no, without looking suspicious. We sat in the living room. Photo albums spread across the table. There were pictures of me as a kid, birthdays, school plays, me sitting on my father's shoulders. Then, suddenly, no more me. Just her friends, her family. What happened here? My father asked quietly, pointing at the gap. Shrugged. You stopped wanting photos, she said, not looking at me. I smiled. No, I said. You told me cameras were too expensive. My father frowned. That doesn't sound like me. Stood up. I need some air, she said sharply. That night I called Sarah. She's nervous, I said, but not broken. Then push her without pushing, Sarah replied. Make her talk. The next day, I invited someone over. A guest didn't expect. Sarah Collins. When saw her step inside the house, she nearly dropped the tray she was holding. You, whispered. Sarah smiled politely. Hello, long time. My father looked confused. Do you know each other? Forced a laugh. Barely, she said. Old misunderstanding. Sarah sat down. Oh, it wasn't a misunderstanding, she said calmly. You told my husband I was dangerous too. Snapped. That's a lie. I reached into my pocket. Is it? I asked. I placed my phone on the table and pressed play. Voice echoed through the room. She's unstable. I'm scared of her. My father's hands began to shake. That's your voice, he said. Stood up. You went through my things, she shouted. I listened to the truth, I replied. She pointed at me, furious. He's manipulating you, she yelled at my father, just like I warned you. I leaned forward. You warned him, I said quietly, using lies. My father looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. How many times? He asked. How many people? Mouth opened, closed. She said nothing. That was when she broke. She laughed. A sharp, ugly laugh. You were weak, she said to him. Both of you, I just helped things along. Silence crashed over the room. My father stood up slowly. Get out, he said. Eyes widened. This is my house. No, he said, his voice firm. It was always ours, you just poisoned it. She grabbed her bag and stormed toward the door. Before leaving, she turned to me. You think this is revenge, she hissed. You don't know what you've started. I smiled. Oh, I said softly, this is just the beginning. The door slammed. My father sank onto the couch, shaking. I failed you, he whispered. I sat beside him. I didn't come back for an apology, I said. I came back for the truth. He looked at me. And what happens now? I looked toward the door had just walked through and thought about the last file I hadn't played yet. The one that could destroy her completely. I'll tell you soon, I said. But not today. Because was about to learn that poison has a way of coming back around. And when it does, it burns. My father didn't sleep that night. Neither did I. We sat in the living room with the lights off, listening to the house creak like it was breathing again for the first time in years. "I don't know how I missed it," he said finally. "The signs were everywhere." "You trusted her," I replied. "That's how poison works. It hides inside trust." He nodded slowly. "I should have protected you." I didn't answer. Some wounds don't need words. They need time. The next morning, started calling. Once, twice, 10 times. My father didn't pick up. She sent messages instead. Long ones, angry ones, then crying ones. She said she was sorry. She said she was misunderstood. She said Sarah and I planned everything. Classic. That afternoon, a letter arrived. Handwritten. She never did that unless she was desperate. My father read it out loud, his voice shaking. "I only did what I had to do to keep this family together." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "She still thinks she's the victim," I said. He folded the letter carefully. "No," he said quietly. "She thinks she hasn't lost yet." And that's when I told him about the last file, the one I hadn't played. His eyes widened as I explained what it contained. Dates, names, proof, not just lies, but plans, real ones, calculated ones. "This could ruin her," he whispered. I nodded. "But if we use it now," I said, "she'll see it coming." He looked at me. "What do you want to do?" I stood and walked to the window. Outside, car passed slowly down the street. She was watching. "I want her to feel safe," I said, "just long enough to make one more mistake." My father took a deep breath. "Then we do this your way." That night, sent one last message. "You may think you won," it read, "but you don't know me." I typed back 3 words. "You're right." Then I turned off my phone. Because real revenge doesn't shout. It waits. And had no idea that the next time she tried to poison someone's mind, the truth would be waiting for her. Wide awake. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your comment about this story. And please subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.